Hi there, my name is Tercy Engelhardt, and I'd like to welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. And once again, every week, I say some version of thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey and for you being a part of my journey. When you take the maximum 10 minutes, minimum 4 or 5, to listen in to the podcast each week, or occasionally, whenever you're led or guided to this particular episode or that particular episode, we're sharing a journey of life called reclaiming those broken off, shattered off bits and pieces of ourselves. We're healing wounds and trauma and events from the past and reframing them or recovering from them and experiencing levels of newness and redemption and love and forgiveness. And for sharing that with me, I am grateful. One of the things about living in a small town or being an elder is we have to work at staying connected to other people. We don't necessarily have the kids in the home and all the events and the activities. And I live in a small town. And so while I started this, when I was actually running a pretty big hospitality business on our farm, it was during COVID and it was a way to stay connected. And yes, it's through technology, but fortunately with video or Zoom or any of those things, we can still actually have some face to face, face to screen, screen to face interaction. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the people who are listening in other countries, other parts of the world at a time that works for them. Because face it, we're all over the place. All of us as humans are learning to appreciate and care for the being that we are and let go of some of those false perceptions that have perhaps hindered our growth or kept us small or kept us wounded. And I'm grateful to be a part of ending that, participating with other people and staying healthy and caring for myself just as other people are learning to care for themselves. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. My journey comes from soon 39 years of recovery, and I can still remember the day when I couldn't make it through day one without either eating too much or not eating at all, lying or cheating or stealing, or all of the habits that are associated with an addictive lifestyle. And it's hard to believe that I can say 39 years, that in another year it'll be 40, which will be twice as long as I lived healing from sexual abuse through, living an addictive life in order to cover up the wound and the fear and the shame and the guilt, and all of those things. So, thank you. Thank you for being here and being a part of this. And if you know anybody else who's could use someone to hold their hand or walk with them, invite them to the podcast. And if it works for them, they'll stick around. And if it doesn't, no problem. Okay. So this particular episode is called Do Messes Really Matter? So I actually recorded 2 episodes back to back because I just came off of a family vacation here on the farm where we had 18 of our kids, grandkids here. And we live in a super small little cabin. And while we have a lot of land, it's small inside. And we have two, I guess, 2 bathrooms. And we had a lot of people here, and we have an outdoor shower and we have a couple baths inside. But the experience, while we spent a majority of our time outside, the experience of adding eight for 8 children, 8 young children, is it's messy. It's just messy. You can't help it. Um, and so I notice I am someone who loves a sense of order and cleanliness and things put in the right place. I do clean up as I go when I cook. So many of those things, skills and tools that I've learned to navigate and manage in order to stay healthy. So, that being said, I want you to consider whether you're on the spectrum of you can live comfortably with messes, or maybe you have a housekeeper and you make the mess, but somebody else is cleaning it up, or you have a nanny and you and the kids can make a mess and somebody else cleans it up. Or you're with a roommate and you're the one that's messy and somebody else is picking up after you or reminding you all the time to clean up. Or you just live in the mess and you're happy and comfortable with that. I'm not criticizing that. In a lot of ways, I wish I could just leave my clothes on the floor or not rinse out the bathtub when I'm done or not do the dishes before after a meal. Sometimes doing all the dishes that the prep created before we sit down and eat. So when we sit down and eat, things are clean and all that's left is the meal dishes. And yet, does that really matter? So I want to suggest, coming away from this time together, that time together is what matters. And I did an episode on time with the loved ones. And messes can always be cleaned up. It doesn't take that long to even clean them up. And so while I think that order and cleanliness is important, and it certainly does add to my sense and maybe your sense of peace of mind or inner peace or harmony, don't let the need for that or the desire for that usurp the closeness or the connection of your relationships. And you can always clean up together. You can do the dishes together. I was talking to one of my daughter-in-laws and saying, when I was a kid, we never had a dishwasher because doing the dishes together was enjoyable. It's where we talked and we had great conversations. And sure, we belly ached as children around having to do the dishes. And I was the youngest of 3 girls, and I probably belly ached the most. But I look back and I can see that that time was valuable and precious. And so, with kids, you can share in some of the tasks. Sure, I get it. They don't maybe do as good a job as you could do, but doing it together can be an amazing learning experience. And again, an opportunity to have great conversations. So, yes, it's fine to make requests. It's fine to, um, you know, clean up. It's fine to clean up after other people. It's fine to um, let things let things go and clean up later. The point is, while many of us have lived a messy life, sometimes our recovery looks like creating order. And I think what's important is, yes, the external order can be a reflection of the internal order. The sense that you have your internal house together. But don't sacrifice getting your internal house together by keeping your focus on the external house. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, expressing your love, your consideration, your kindness, your devotion for others, for loving one another, for forgiving, for being generous, for being kind, all those ways of being. That's your internal house. Nourish that, protect that, keep that clean. The messages, the things you say, the things you listen to, the reflection that you are, what people are present to around you. keep your internal house in order, and the external house will be a reflection of that. And if the external house is messy and the internal house is clean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can always clean up the external, but the work is that internal house, that house of your soul. So, do they matter? Yeah, sure, it's great. I love my floor clean. I love the dishes clean. I love my sheets clean. I love the bathtub clean. I love my towels folded. All those things. I love my car clean. My husband could care less. I love clean laundry. I love those things. But they're not more important than the condition of my internal world. And so keep that as your focus and make sure that that internal world is actually in order, and know and trust that external world doesn't take that long to clean it up if it gets messy. Okay? I'll be here next week and I can't wait to see you.